This is Youth Marketing Academy, October 8th, Monday. My name is Ghani Kunto. I am your host, and with me is Graham Brown from Mobile Youth. We have an exciting show lined up for you today. We're talking about Pittbull, we're talking about Taylor Swift, we're talking about co-creation, and what it really means to involve the fans in your branding. All right, so make sure you tune in, and let's jump right into it. Hi, Graham. How are you doing?
Doing great, Ghani. And you?
Yeah, doing great also. So, today I wanted to discuss something that is quite interesting. This is happening a lot now. There are a lot of brands that are trying to involve customers more, right? They think they're building a dialogue by leveraging the internet because it's cheap, right? Involve more people. And one of these things that they do is basically by asking customers, "Hey, we want to do this thing. How should we do it?" Right? And a lot of the time it goes wrong. For example, the most recent one, I think Walmart wants to celebrate its anniversary. They ask people by telling them to vote by liking different Walmart Facebook pages,
Mm.
and the outlet with the most votes will get the rapper Pitbull to perform there. And the contest got hijacked. Pitbull got sent to the most remote brand of Walmart in Alaska. I think that was quite interesting. But there's a lesson here for brands, and because this has happened quite a bit. What would be the main lessons here for brands, Graham?
Mm. So let's just have a look at the evidence. So, first of all, Walmart were trying to engage fans, quote unquote, in this conversation. So get people to like this stuff on Facebook, and the whole thing was co-opted by a few elements from websites like 4chan, and they basically ran a guerrilla campaign to get people to vote for this store in Kodiak. So Pitbull would be set up there, right? So I guess the question is did that go to plan for Walmart, and did it go to plan for Pitbull? I mean, what do you think?
I I assume not, but yeah, they didn't go to plan. But I think they still benefited from it.
Right, because they went through with it, right?
Yeah, right.
Because they could have easily have done what a lot of other brands had done, and that was to change the rules at the last minute. We saw that with Nokia and the ringtones. We saw it with Next. American Apparel have done it. You know, there's a whole bunch of brands that have tried to get into this space and got their fingers bitten really by the beast that is the internet. And I think some people can make good out of it, and some people fail. It really depends about the DNA of the brand that's dealing with it, right? And so, to your point about the rules, the lessons learned, I think it's got to go back to this thing about fans and customers, hasn't it, Garni? It's about you're engaging the wrong people. I just wonder. I mean, let's have a look at that. Is it right now in this day and age to ask customers to vote on things? It seems to me a little bit dated.
Mm,
Why
mm-hmm.
do you think where did that mind let's have a look at it. Where did that whole sort of business model come from? That whole sort of marketing idea about getting people to vote on things?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be like from back pre-internet era, right? When people actually when voting for something actually meant something. Like if
Right.
you're, I just remember like back in the days of New Kids on the Block and Michael Jackson, and if you're a fan club of those things, even like Mickey Mouse fan club, for example, right?
Right.
To become a fan, you actually wrote a letter. Well, you actually have to mail it out and you wait for it,
Hmm.
and yeah, you become part of the some group that you feel strongly about, right? And even if you get a pin back, it meant something for you. Um, I mean that was pre-internet, but now you don't have to do that anymore. Especially like if the way that these brands are doing it with the Facebook likes and things like that, people can just like anyone can just click the like button, right?
Right. So the point is that Facebook fans are not real fans, right?
Yeah, yeah,
There's no
absolutely.
cost involved. We talked about signaling cost, right,
Mm,
in the earlier episode.
mm,
And there has to be a cost associated with being a fan, otherwise it's meaningless. So the
mm-hmm,
real fans are the ones, like we talked about with fan fiction, the ones that make the effort to
mm,
write the books about the movie, right? rather than
Mm,
people who simply just show up and like the like button, right?
mm,
So I think this is the big issue with doing this kind of marketing. It seems like this style of marketing, if your agency is doing these popularity contests or getting people to vote on things, it's a style of marketing which was built of an era where we had shelf space, where
mm,
there was a limitation to this the whole sort of branding and marketing thing. So therefore, there was a cost associated with being a part of a brand. But
mm.
now anybody can sort of join in this quote unquote conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess the challenge for these brands now is to find out who are the real fans and what would be the best way of involving them. And the voting system, the American Idol, is not necessarily the best way to do it these days. It's sort of
Mm.
going out there and being part of that community and understanding how you can support that community without trying to do it in a manner which was best suited to 1989.
Yeah, I guess the way they ask it is one thing. I guess also who's asking it also another thing, right? Because
Right.
if it's a brand that is actually really loved by a group of people and they're asking the right group of people, I think it could actually work. But because the ones who are doing it are the most popular brands, like well, Pitbull is the his name is everywhere, even though people
Right.
might not like him, but they know of him, right? And Walmart and like the ones that did this before are like are always the big brands. They think like, hey, we're a big brand, everybody knows us, so they'll want to join in, right? And then and it's kind of like the way they're involving people too. It's kind of like I guess it's kind of they're just asking, hey, we already know what we want to do, but you can choose, maybe the color of the paint or
Right.
something like that, right? That's not important at all. And the idea that people are hijacking these contests and these campaigns, I think it's interesting because a lot of the times it's the brands that are hijacking youth culture, right? It's kind of like the opposite now.
Right. It's kind of they're opening themselves up to this abuse as well,
Mm,
and that's the problem with this method. If you have a strong brand, you're going to have fans, and if you have fans, then people love your brand, and if
mm,
people love your brand, people also hate your brand.
mm,
So going out and asking the wider public, you're going to polarize opinion. You're going to get the people who hate you probably more motivated to stick one up the brand than the people who
mm,
love you, right?
mm.
And that is the problem with doing this kind of marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's because you're inviting the whole gamut of the market to get involved, and most of them don't want to know. We talked about, for example, examples of brands where there is a love and hate relationship.
Mm,
Buckley's cough syrup or Vegemite Marmite or even Apple or Nokia phones. There are people who
mm,
love them and people who hate them, right?
mm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And of course, the fans are only what 10%, 9% of the whole population. So if it's a popularity
Right.
contest, then they're not going to outshout the mass market. Then this is not the way to involve fans, basically, right? Um,
Yeah.
I guess another part that's interesting about the Walmart and Pitbull story is the fact that they went through with it, right? I mean,
Mm.
is this the best thing that a brand can do if they got themselves into the situation?
Yeah, you have to really, because you take the examples of the brands that didn't do that, and it tends to be celebrities more than anything, because these kind of programs are aimed at celebrities, and celebrities tend to, obviously surround themselves in lots of advisors and not necessarily connected to the real world. So you get these kind of examples, these extremes where celebrities are caught out by this kind of stuff. And we saw a good example of Bear Grylls and Woody Harrelson on um, Reddit's Ask Me Anything thread, where Bear Grylls went with it in the spirit of Walmart, and Woody Harrelson, promoting his movie Rampart, didn't go with it and didn't like the kind of abuse that the fandom gave him, and as a
Mm,
result, got more abuse. But I
mm.
think probably the most extreme example was Taylor Swift.
Yes, I think a lot of people have heard about this, about how there was an event sponsored by Chegg, Papa John's Pizza, CoverGirl, and American Greetings. They did this online contest where people can vote to send Taylor Swift to a school to perform there. But users of 4chan and Reddit found out about this, hijacked it, and sent Swift to perform at this Horace Mann School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. think they meant of it as a joke, but I guess people took offense at it and they pulled out of it. They didn't perform there. Later on, they did donate $10,000 as an apology, maybe, which was too bad, really. And not the donation, but the fact that they pulled out. Because if they had performed, I think those at the School of Deaf would have really appreciated it. Kind of like those in Kodiak, Alaska, when Pittbull went there, they appreciated it. They gave Pittbull key to the city, and Walmart got some great things out of that too, right? They got publicity. I mean, Pitbull still got paid. So I think the lesson here is that if you get hijacked, then you better just go with it because that's the best thing you could do if you're in that situation.
Yeah, it's also done in sort of hindsight though, and in sort of reaction to this to mitigate negative PR rather than done on their terms. And they would happily pay out that kind of money to save them getting a lot of negative column inches about Taylor Swift being a meanie or that kind of thing. So, but the whole sort of system is geared towards this now. Is that you can't game fandoms and you can't play the whole popularity game. But if you are in that sort of situation, that you can actually work it to your favor, like we've seen with Pittbull, like we've seen with Bear Grylls, and maybe even to some extent Walmart taking advantage of that. And we've seen that with some brands, like we've seen some of the soda brands like Jones play this game and do it quite successfully. Where others like Mountain Dew have sort of asked people to vote on names for their flavors, and it's backfired considerably. And it's a lot to do with the whole DNA, isn't it? And the attitude.
Yes, and talking about the DNA and the attitude, I think that's the whole key here. I mean, if you're a company that has the mindset of just pandering to the masses, then actually going to the masses is not going to work for you. But if you actually have in mind that you are for the fans, then you would be the kind of company that invite the fans to come and work with you with these problems or these challenges or this strategy or this thing that you're planning for. And I think the word invite is key here because, it's not about creating fans. It's not going after the fans. It's about breaking down the walls and letting the fans know that you're available, that they can come to you and you will be paying attention to them. Again, it's not going out there and chasing after the fans, but it's about inviting the fans who already exist to come to you. All right, that's it for this edition of Youth Marketing Academy. Thank you, Graham, for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so that's it for today's edition of Youth Marketing Academy. Make sure you tune in, same time, same channel tomorrow. I'm Ghani Kunto, wishing you have a good day and take care.